Imagine this, right now, a hidden part of yourself is silently shaping your choices, emotions, and even your beliefs. What if you discovered that this shadowy figure, besides manipulating you, also holds the key to your true freedom and potential? I'm talking about your inner shadows, as defined by Carl Jung. In this video, you will learn how working with your individual shadows doesn't just transform lives, but may also be considered Carl Jung's greatest legacy to humankind. You'll understand why I believe this. And I'll also reveal a potentially more practical and faster way for you to effectively work on your shadows and unlock your full co-creative power. Have you ever felt trapped in behavioral patterns or emotions that seem out of your control? Often, these feelings reflect parts of ourselves that we avoid confronting. Carl Jung called this space the shadow, a part of the unconscious where we store fears, traumas, and repressed desires. It is precisely in this uncharted territory that our greatest potential for transformation resides. But how can we access it in a practical way? In today's video, we will explore a path that connects science, psychology, and spirituality, revealing tools that can help you face your shadows and transform them into allies. In shadow work, practices like journaling and dream analysis are often mentioned, and for good reason. They help map patterns and signals from the unconscious. But we want to go further. What if there were a method that combines universal stories, archetypes, and ancestral symbols to uncover your shadows clearly and practically? That's exactly what we'll explore throughout this video, diving into the study of mythology and how it can become the key to your self-discovery. Get ready for a unique journey that will transform the way you see your life and your purpose. But before we dive in, I need to tell you that the first step in freeing yourself from your shadows is subscribing to the channel and becoming part of the iZenither's community. This way, you'll always be one step closer to transforming your consciousness and reaching your highest point of enlightenment. Since ancient times, myths have been used to explain human nature and the mysteries of the universe. These timeless tales are not just fantastic stories, but reflections of universal patterns that resonate within all of us. Carl Jung described this as the collective unconscious, a deep layer of the mind that shares symbols and archetypes with all humanity. These archetypes appear in myths and legends, illustrating challenges, weaknesses, and triumphs that everyone faces. That's why understanding the myth you are living can reveal much about your inner conflicts and shadows. Did you know that all of us live under the influence of specific myths and archetypes? It's as if our personalities, fears, and even our challenges are written into a larger story. Imagine your life as a stage play, and you are the protagonist. What would the plot of that story be? Are you playing the role of a trailblazing hero, like Hercules, facing impossible challenges? Or perhaps Persephone, navigating between light and darkness, balancing two opposing realities? Discovering the archetype shaping your life is like finding a map to your unconscious. This discovery can illuminate behavioral patterns that once seemed incomprehensible and bring clarity about your fears, desires, and repressed potentials. Every myth holds a message that transcends time and space. When living under the influence of a specific myth or archetype, your life becomes a modern manifestation of that story. For example, someone living under the hero archetype may constantly feel challenged to overcome obstacles, often facing their own insecurities in the process. Identifying these patterns not only helps you recognize your shadows, but also offers clues on how to confront them productively. Consider that the shadows you carry might be the same as those faced by mythological characters. In the myth of Prometheus, who defied the gods to bring fire to humanity, we see the shadow of rebellion and sacrifice. For someone who identifies with this archetype, their shadows might include a fear of authority figures or a constant sense of weight from the responsibilities they've chosen to bear. Recognizing these aspects helps you face your challenges with courage and wisdom rather than suppressing them. The power of identifying the myth you're living lies in how it can guide your self-discovery process. By understanding that your shadows are a natural part of this story, you gain tools to deal with them. Instead of fighting against your fears and limitations, you can start seeing them as allies in your growth journey. After all, just like in myths, the hero only achieves their full potential by facing and integrating their shadow. Now, with this knowledge in hand, you can see the importance of the timeless work done by mythologists. Over centuries, they've cataloged an immense variety of stories and archetypes, creating an extensive library about every myth. This collection is like a universal library that describes all the nuances of human behavior. Imagine the power of accessing these narratives and applying them to your own life. This elevates shadow work to a completely new level, where you not only identify your shadows, but also integrate them with courage and clarity. To find which myth or archetype is influencing your life, you can start with a simple reflection. What stories or characters have always seemed to resonate with you? What patterns keep repeating in your life? These questions are starting points to uncover the narrative shaping your unconscious. And once you recognize this myth, you'll have a clear path to explore the shadows that accompany it. As we often say here on the channel, the unknown is only dangerous if you refuse to see it. Now that you understand how myths and archetypes shape our lives and reveal our shadows, it's time to learn how to apply these discoveries in a practical way. Identifying your shadows is just the first step. The true power of shadow work lies in integrating and transforming them into allies. One of the most effective ways to do this is through reflective practices, such as journaling. By dedicating time to writing about emotions, recurring patterns, and dreams, you create a safe space to explore what once seemed hidden. These practices help bring repressed elements to the surface, allowing you to observe them without judgment and consciously integrate them. Another powerful practice is dream analysis. Carl Jung believed that dreams are the language of the unconscious, and through them, our archetypes and shadows manifest. Have you ever had a strange yet symbolic dream that seemed to convey an important message? Paying attention to these details can provide valuable insights into understanding your shadows and starting the process of integration. The unconscious plays a fundamental role in co-creating reality. Unresolved shadows can fuel negative feelings like fear, insecurity, and anger, which interfere with positive manifestations. For instance, someone striving for financial abundance, but carrying a shadow of self-sabotage, might unconsciously attract situations that reinforce this limitation. By integrating your shadows, you create space for the unconscious to work in your favor, aligning intentions and outcomes. Recurring dream patterns reveal connections to deep archetypes. For example, dreaming of water may symbolize a connection to the archetype of the collective unconscious, reflecting repressed emotions flowing beneath the surface. Dreams involving luminous figures may indicate the presence of archetypes of transformation or spiritual guidance. These patterns reveal not only personal shadows, but also the individual's stage of spiritual development. The tarot is an excellent example of how mythology and archetypes can be used to access and understand your shadows. Each tarot card represents both light and shadow aspects, reflecting elements of your personality and journey. A card like the Fool, for instance, may signify strength and courage to embrace new opportunities, letting go of the past, but also excessive naivety or difficulty focusing on a single task. Consulting a professional who understands tarot as a tool for self-discovery can provide valuable insights into the myth you're living and the archetypes influencing your life. Delving deeper into shadow work and archetypes is not something to be taken lightly. It's highly recommended to seek professional help, such as a Jungian therapist. Shadow work uncovers immense hidden potential, but it must be approached carefully. A professional can guide you in dream analysis, help interpret symbolic patterns and synchronicities, and work through traumas or blockages that surface during this process. Combining these practices with conscious exploration of myths and archetypes offers a holistic approach to integrating shadows and aligning the unconscious with a higher purpose. Shadow work is undoubtedly one of Carl Jung's greatest legacies. It invites us to face what we avoid, embrace what we repress, and transform these parts into powerful allies. We've explored how myths and archetypes, present in the collective unconscious, can illuminate our fears, desires, and potential. Understanding which myth or archetype shapes your life is the first step toward profound transformation. Understand this: internal shadows are not negative things that should not exist. Without shadows, you wouldn't have the drive and energy to grow and evolve. By identifying the myth or archetype guiding your life, you not only understand your shadows, but also uncover the light they hide. After all, everything has its shadow and light sides. It is in this balance that true transformation happens, a process that enriches us individually and contributes to creating a more conscious and harmonious world. Imagine the collective impact of people who embrace their shadows and live in harmony with their essence. When we become whole, we become living examples of how personal transformation can inspire global change. Seek to understand your patterns, use tools like tarot, study myths, and Carl Jung, or seek the guidance of a Jungian therapist. Don't let this valuable knowledge shared here stay unused. Apply it to your life and watch the transformations unfold. Have you already practiced any of the methods mentioned here? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And here's a final thought for you: spiritual enlightenment is not a utopia, it is the path to a fulfilled life. See you in the next video.